So hello and welcome back to episode 3 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. I'm Barry Doyle and we're back for a third week, Andrew Blair-White, and I must say Freddie Mercury will never be dead.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's the last day of November, so I decided I had to get rid of the little goatee part as well. So everyone's going to be now looking at episode 3 going, what on earth is that?
I must say I haven't done it, and I will do before the day ends. We're going to start off as we always do, just have a quick look back at the weekend. Of course, it was a fantastic race, and the Hennessy, the fighting fifth, and obviously we had Fairyhouse as well, a cracking card on Sunday. Andrew, we'll start with Ballyadam. I know last week I put up She Wears It Well as my Ante-Post selection. It was one of my wildcards, and we didn't see her. I think she unfortunately she had a bit of a setback, so hopefully we'll hear more in the coming days, and hopefully she's all well. But Ballyadam, were you impressed?
Yeah, it was hard to know with Ballyadam. Like, it was a decent performance without being an excellent one, I thought. His jumping left an awful lot to be desired. A few bad mistakes, especially one at the first going away down the back. So, beating Caskmate and N'Golo the way he did, he'd want to be stepping up on that, really, to be justifying the price he is for the Supreme now, in my eyes.
I was going to say, is he now the worst price short favourite of the festival? I think he's a long way to go, and 6-1 at this stage, we haven't even got into the winter's racing yet for a Supreme. Seems crazy short, does it?
Yeah, I just thought it was a very short price, and to be honest, I'd probably take Fernie Hollow ahead of him in the Supreme, really, if I was Cheveley Park at the moment. But that's, there's still an awful lot to come from this Ballyadam, I think. He is still an improving horse. He will learn, I suspect, to jump better in time. But the bare form of Sunday's race wouldn't justify him being 6-1 for the Supreme, I must say.
I thought the horse actually to take from the race was N'Golo. If you were to look at the way he travelled down the back, he absolutely tanked. I think Ruby Walsh said just afterwards as well that, he was, for him to finish as strongly as he did. You talked about Ronald Pump, and we'll come on to him, but N'Golo showed a fair turn of foot as well, considering he pulled so hard in the race, and there was quotes flying in at 20-1 for the Ballymore. For me, a fast run Supreme might suit N'Golo. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Willie Mullins' number 1 Supreme horse. It'll be interesting to see what he does over Christmas, but a fast run 2 miles, would you let him off in front in something like a D-Light?
Yeah, it'd be hard to know. Like, obviously, I remember Aramon getting beat in the Royal Band when they went to Mickey Mouse gallop behind Quick Grab 'em, and then he benefited from a very strong gallop to win the Grade 1 novice at Christmas time. You could see that happening. I'd be slightly dubious whether with N'Golo, though, in a Grade 1 company, he'd always find a couple too good.
Speaking of horses you don't want to get beat, Honeysuckle, she still hasn't got beat. And I thought it was interesting because I know a lot of people last year, I think yourself included, Andrew, when the talk of Champion Hurdle came up, you maybe questioned, did she jump maybe a bit bigger at her hurdles? I kind of thought similar as well. Now, I know Ronan Groom was campaigning for to go down the Champion Hurdle route. I thought in this particular race, obviously it was her first run back of the season. I thought it did turn into maybe a bit of a sprint. Rachel's comments afterwards as well, and the fact that they are going to take on your St. Ross and your Abacadabras, they are looking at the Irish Champion Hurdle. Is that an indication maybe that would Henry roll the dice? He didn't shut it down on RTE when he was asked afterwards.
No, and you'd love to see them take a chance. I know some people, obviously not myself, but some people did want her to run on the Champion Hurdle last year. I think if she was going to be beat this season in that type of a race, it would have been yesterday, because she obviously was going to come on for the run. I think she'll be better than maybe that bare form would suggest. But I still can't have her really as a 2-mile hurdler at all. I'm a bit annoyed that we may go through her whole career with her staying over hurdles, where she just slaps like a fantastic chaser. She jumps hurdles like she should be jumping fences. Her jump at the last in the Mayor's Hurdle last year, like, I've never seen something like that in a hurdle race at Cheltenham. I'd be taking her on anyway with San Juan in a 2-mile hurdle personally, but she was very good yesterday, and it was great to see her retain that unbeaten record.
Absolutely. Xanaphir in the grade 3. He was a horse, actually. He was obviously won. Did he win on the flat for Michael Halford? Won a Ballinrobe on soft ground. I thought there was a lot to like about this performance as juvenile hurdlers. It looks like Gordon as well holds all the aces in this division. But I thought the way he jumped, the way he travelled, and he's a big horse as well, Andrew. I think he's going to improve.
Yeah, I thought it was a monstrous performance from this horse. The vibes coming out of Willie Mullins were that they quite fancied this San Sam, who'd won twice over in France. I know he was given a bit of weight away, but this horse jumped superbly for a juvenile hurdler. Looked a big, strapping horse. The form of Ballinrobe, I think the Mullins team quite liked Dark Voyager going into that race, and he beat him cozy enough. When looking a bit novice-y, he looked a fair horse now yesterday. You'd be
8-1 now. 8-1 for the 8-1 for the Triumph Hurdle. Andrew, I have to be honest with you, I was very tempted, but look, there's a lot more to play between now and the next time we even see him entered.
I wouldn't say 8-1 at this time of the year is much of a price for the Triumph Hurdle, personally, as impressive as he was.
Performance of the week. I mean, look, we had Newbury, we said fighting fifth. We're after reviewing Fairy House, but what was your performance of the weekend across the board?
Yeah, well, it's very interesting that I go to this horse because I wouldn't usually be a big fan of kind of hyping up English Paul Nicholls horses, but I don't know whether you saw on Friday a horse called Brave Man's Game run. He is some tool of a horse. I thought he was absolutely superb. I don't know whether he's an option for this year, personally. He obviously will probably go on to the shallow hurdle now next time out, and if he wins that, will probably run at Cheltenham. But this horse will be a fair novice chaser next year now. He's built like a brick house, and he just travelled so nicely into that race. There's a few nice enough types in behind him. If any of the viewers haven't seen Brave Man's Game's performance on Friday at Newbury, please go and watch it, because this is going to be a serious horse going forward.
25-1. It was big as 25-1 for the Ballymore, and it's interesting because Paul Nicholls doesn't usually kind of go down the route of there's big spring festivals with these horses that are always going to be cliche better chasers, but he certainly is one that also didn't shut it down in his interview afterwards. And as you said, if he goes on to the shallow and wins there, he's probably going to be one of the leading British players anyway for the Ballymore. That was your performance of the week. Yeah, listen, my performance of the weekend, Andrew, came on Saturday. We're split between, of course, the two Willie Mullins horses that won, but I can't get away from Concertista. I was talking to Monkfish as well. Thought he was very good. But Concertista, I mean, looking at last year, it took her a long time to warm up last year. I think she started off at Fairy House. She couldn't get the job done. She couldn't get the job done at Christmas, and she broke her maiden at Cheltenham. So not your type of horse that... She looks like she's improved an awful lot. I mean, she won obviously by 12 lengths going away, doing handstands. And I'm thinking at the start of this year that 2.5 miles is going to be absolutely ideal for back at Cheltenham. Of course, she's run, her best 2 runs have come at Cheltenham and stepped up to that mare's trip. Would Benny Deju maybe go chasing, and would the mare's chase be an option for her, which would make her maybe, if she proved again, be Willie's main mare's hurdle horse? And now you look at Honeysuckle and you think, is she going to go to the champion hurdle? But she was absolutely, I'm not sure, talk about sexy performances. This was just Paul Townend doing Paul Carberry. He was like Archibald back at Fairy House. But no, she was absolutely mighty. And the form, Andrew, because I know you're a big form man, strictly on form, it did look good for me. Manella Melody ran a solid race behind Beacon Edge, who ran a cracker, obviously, in the Hatton's Grace. So, look, she ticks an awful lot of boxes. I think if you were to look at Constance, a fast run 2 miles at Cheltenham, she also has an option of a champion hurdle. Willie said that, she has the options, obviously, of going maybe in against the geldings. But I see, personally, my gut tells me she's going to go down the mare's route. I think she's as short now as 4-1 and as big as 11-2. I think it's all chalked up on Concertista. I think she represents probably Willie's best chance now at this stage. I think Benny Deju had her chance last year. She probably is going to go chasing, and I think Concertista, she was the performance of the weekend. I think she's only going to improve as well as the season goes on. Andrew Blair-White, your Ante-Post selection for episode 3 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. Take it away.
Yeah, well, it was a hard one this week because an awful lot of the markets are tricky to get much value in. And I'm just looking ahead with the Tingle Creek in mind on the weekend. And I'm going to play. I've put up 2 25-1 chances now, and I'm going to finally put in more of a banker here, and I'm going to play Chacun-Pour-Soi at 9-2. He's available with 2 bookmakers at 9-2. I think the Tingle Creek could end up with them all falling in beside each other with Altior, Rouge Vif, Grenadine. I don't know which one's the best of the lot. Altior's getting on at this stage. I think Chacun-Pour-Soi, it's 9-2 for him to get there, really. I think he's the best horse in the division, and I think he's the best horse in the division by a long way. And I'm hoping the Tingle Creek provides inconclusive results, and as a result, Chacun-Pour-Soi may shorten in the betting for sitting in his box.
Yeah, last week we tried to get points on the board. Andrew Blair-White with Mac Fabulous was majorly disappointing. Non's there?
Looked it, yeah. Unfortunately, travelled into the race beautifully, but nothing there with 2 furlongs.
Am I ripping up that docket? I don't know. Yeah, very disappointing. I thought he was going to win that race, and that's why I put him in. She Wears It Well obviously came out, so I'm still looking for points on the board, and I'm still seeing that 12-1 chalked up on Appreciated Andrew Blair-White. And look, I just need points on the board early, and I need to stick him in. I need to put him in the team. Betfair and Paddy Power again. Is that cheating? The 2 bookmaker stipulations. Just for anyone who wants to get involved, you can still get involved. The rules we have in play are that the price has to be chalked up by these 2 bookmakers. But Appreciated is still available there at 12-1. It was a nice performance at a trip, Andrew, over 2 miles. We discussed it last week, at a trip that I don't think is his trip. I think he's going to be better, obviously, going up. I don't think he's a plotter. I don't think you're talking Albert Bartlett for him. I think he is going down the route of the Ballymore. His jumping was very, very slick, and he done it as well as I think we could have expected over a trip, over the minimum trip. And what I did like about him as well is he seemed to settle a lot better, because last year he was very keen in his races. Fernie Hollows as well. I think he is going to go supreme. Ballyadam, I wouldn't back him for either of the races. Bob Bollinger's interesting. I think he could improve again. But looking down that race, I'm just waiting for something. You mentioned Brave Man's Game. I think 12-1 is still good value and Appreciated, and I want him in the team sheet. I have to be honest with you, Andrew Blair-White. I was going to put in Chacun-Pour-Soi as the wild card, but because of last week, I'm just going to have to hold my fire for another while. But that concludes, I suppose, episode 3 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. Andrew, plenty of interaction under our video on YouTube as well, and it's still not too late for people to get involved.
Yeah, exactly. We've had some great responses with people getting involved every week. Get your selection in, play your wild card at the right time, and hopefully we'll find out who's the best between us all by the end of it all.
The Ante-Post King. Could be you, Andrew, could be me, could be one of the viewers. We'll have to start talking about prizes down the line. We might have some information on that next week, but thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.